Thank you everyone for joining me on the Fashiontizer podcast. I'm your host, Swangile, and today we're talking to Thobile, who is the founder and owner of Gold Bottom, a packaging and design company established in 2017. Toby, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me, Sro.
Toby, let's rewind a bit. So you have a background in finance, and generally in the society we're part of, the perception held is that if you are studying toward or hold a degree in a certain field, that's your path in life. But here you are, you decided to pivot. You did not start a business finance related, but you started one in packaging. Can you just let us in on the behind the scenes of what led you to that? Was there maybe a particular niche you saw in the packaging industry that you wanted to fulfill, or it was just for the love of it?
So Gold Bottom is a passion company. When I was in high school, I've always had so first of all, I've always been in the field of commerce. In high school as well, I was in the commerce subject and in commerce, subject base. And as I further continued and studied, I also remained in that finance. But finance was always so either black, white, or gray. It never had color. It never had play. It never had texture. It was always facts. It was always facts. It was always numbers. And I always had a creative side to myself. I loved color, and I always wanted to color in. And so during class, I'd find myself playing with color paper. And when I was younger, I'd do a little bit of origami. And one day in high school at Cephas Academy, a friend, I made these cards. At Cephas Academy, we weren't allowed to leave the premises.
Yeah.
So we were on the premises 24/7.
Okay.
On the premises 24/7. So you couldn't get a birthday card, nothing like that. And I was used to doing such things. So one day I started making cards for everybody in the class just to say happy birthday and to cheer everybody up. And from there, people started saying, hey, I'll give you 10 Rand if you make me a card, kids from other classes. And from there, also the financial aspects coming into it, I was like, oh, but it cost me so much to do this. This is going to be. And then from there, I was like, hey, wait, I can actually make money from this. And then that's where the passion started from. And at first it was just to make cards and to customize and to play. But as the passion grew, it led even into my varsity days. In varsity, I then started moving into more structural packaging or to the structural side of paper mache. And that's when I started learning more about packaging design and structural design. And I fell in love with that. And I fell in love with how packaging actually was more perception. It was how I perceived something. And it was my way of bringing life to whatever I perceived. And that's how I got to Gold Bottom. And it's very true that a lot of the times people would expect that you follow your career.
Yeah.
It's for me as well. My parents were like, "What in the dear heavens are you talking about? Do you think that we spent all that money and all that time and all that energy so that you can tell us you want to play with boxes?" And I was like, It wasn't necessarily about the boxes, but it's about for the rest of your life. Even if you live and you make money, or it's a career that gives you money, does it give you happiness? Does it give you joy? When you look back, do you feel like there's something that you gained from it, and do you feel like there's something you gave? And if the answer is no, I genuinely don't want to do it because I wasn't giving finance my 100%. It wasn't my all. It was there. Of course it's there. It's great to have the knowledge, but it doesn't help to have knowledge that you don't feel or find useful in your life. So I just had to take that and direct it into something that I could find useful in my life.
Yeah. So have your parents accepted your company now, you in this particular field now? Have they warmed up to it?
So, I'll give I don't know whether to give the honest answer or the diplomatic answer. The honest answer is, if you are giving your parents financial stability, of course they love it. The minute it's dry season, they're not very happy about that, But at the same time, they have warmed up to the idea that this is our daughter and she wants to take this direction with her life. And I guess what we have to do is support her, even though from time to time there's always that notion of you can always just go back. Just go back. There's no need for you to keep on
Yeah.
struggling. But
Yeah.
I love my struggle because when I go to sleep at night, I'm happy at the fact that I know how to make my own money. I'm
Mm.
creating my own economy for myself from the very knowledge that I got. So for
Yeah.
me, it's the best. I go to bed smiling day in, day out.
You're content.
Correct.
Yes. So from 2017 to 2020, I know 2020 we started 2020 in a different in a different wheel. How has your company grown though from 2017 up until the current moment?
From the year 2017 until 2019, the company was still on its baby wheels and
Okay.
was still getting up. However, we did manage to expand to a point where I got to 3 employees. I was having a good client base
Ah,
and a positive cash flow. And then came 2020,
yes.
and suddenly all of those systems that took me 2 years to put up got dismantled. I had to refocus my operating systems and redirect them to suit the current market and current economic play, which is that everything functions now on a digital scale.
Yeah.
Nothing no longer functions manually like I used to. So I
Mm,
had to really. But actually, in 2020, my company broke, and now I'm rebuilding it again. And it's with the help of even being part of programs like the Grasha Michelle Women Creating Wealth program, where we get taught on how to expand our businesses in these dire times. Because when this whole pandemic hit, I really thought this is the end of something that took me 2 years to build,
yeah.
and but it really wasn't. It had meant that I needed to shift and change my perspective on how I saw my company operating to suit the
Yeah.
current environment and perhaps a future environment that we'll be subjected to as we keep on going.
Yeah. Yeah. A lot of businesses right now, it's no longer business as usual, and a lot of companies are changing operations and preparing themselves for the new normal because we don't know what after this pandemic how things are going to turn out. So a lot of businesses are trying to prepare themselves. So how does that new path look for Gold Bottom? The new
It looks
normal
great.
is. Uh-huh.
Now that I've had the chance to look into it properly, it looks really great because with the current operating model, I reduce operating costs by more than 85%,
Wow, that's a lot.
and vice versa, you lose employees. That means
Yes.
that you're not putting food in people's mouths, but it goes back directly into my pocket. And at the same time, it's an opportunity for us to venture and to teach different careers, even within the company.
Mm-hmm.
So at first, Go Bottom, I used to make my bags myself by hand. When I first started, I used to make
Oh.
everything by hand. The pressing, the lettering, everything I used to create by hand. And then as the company further developed, we started, sourcing out those services to other companies. And now we're at a point where we're digitizing all those systems, and that is a excuse me, and that has been a fun aspect to the company actually. And also realizing that there are new business opportunities for myself, and then new skills opportunities even for other people. But it's
Yeah.
provided that you really see them. The skills opportunity, unfortunately, is going to be very technological and very digital and very IT based. But I think it's a new and very, very large industry to actually be entering into. The internet world is actually quite big. It is
Yeah.
huge. It's an opportunity to play on an international scale being a local person.
Yes.
It is the opportunity to interact with different cultures, different businesses, different markets, and it's really interesting. It's really, really been interesting to see the change and to start planning for the change.
Yes. And I would assume that because you're also new, or yeah, yes, it's been only 2 years, in terms of the switch has been faster compared to a big company which has been operating for 20 plus years.
I think that was also actually an advantage.
Mm.
Being a small company, the switch wasn't that detrimental because it
Yes.
didn't expand to over 1,000 employees. It
Yeah.
may be 35 branches
Exactly.
in all 9 provinces, or perhaps even across Africa.
Mm.
So for me, it was a good switch and at the right time, because now it automatically allows me an opportunity to access a bigger market, and a wider market, to say that I can cast my net much wider than I previously could, because
Mm-hmm.
first I had to establish myself here at home, which
Yeah.
is how most companies grow. But
Yeah.
now, no ways. If someone can find you on an online shopping service, if they can find you on your website, if they can find you on Facebook, on all social media platforms, guess what? Wherever they are in the world, they will engage should they be interested in your services. And the
Yes.
fact that we're South African, with the South African economy, and the fact that we have a lower rate currency, other people want to engage with you because they go, your services, first of
Affordable.
all, they love the foreign feel,
Yeah.
correct, affordability, and they also enjoy, a lot of clients enjoy finding out what does South Africa or Africa have to give. A lot
Yes.
of European interested clients and companies, they go, what does Africa actually have to give? It
Yeah.
brings out new opportunity as well.
Mm. Mm. That's so true. That's so true. As you were talking about finding new team members and having to let go of some of your employees, how do you define your team? What traits or characteristics do you look for in a team member?
So before you can define what team you need, you must first understand what business model you have,
Okay.
because the business model you have and will determine how, or the team members that are required to operate within your team. So if
Mhm.
you're an online operating system, that means that you are working on an e-commerce based
Yes.
operating system. So that
Mhm.
means that your team members must be that of an e-commerce base. You must have a developer, you must have a graphic designer, you must have a virtual administrator, you must have virtual financial systems, and so forth, moving even into your operations that are there to make sure that they can still function online and digitally.
Yes. And then in terms of characteristics, are you looking for someone also, of course, the hard skills are important, but in terms of the soft skills, someone who's also passionate about your business as you are you looking for someone who understands you and gets you, or you don't mind those things? How does that work for you?
So I want someone who's first of all and foremost passionate about themselves, because when
Okay.
you're passionate about yourself, about your skills and your ability, being
Mhm.
passionate about somebody else's skills is just a luxury for me, to the person
True.
benefiting from that. So I always look for people that I can work with, not
Yeah.
people who want to work for me.
Mm.
And I want people who bring personality, because I don't mind personality. Personality is what shapes the culture of a company.
Okay.
It
Yeah.
also what helps influence you as a brand. Also, be able to form yourself. So I do look for passion, but passion must first start from within. I look for discipline. I look for quality. I look for kindness. I look for communication. People
Yes.
can, if that is very very important. People
Yes.
who are very verbal and who don't just wait for me to say to them, do this, do that, and this is what I want. And because I'm not a dictator. Like I said,
Yeah.
I'm still new in the game
Mhm.
myself.
Yes.
What somebody else might could bring from them just verbalizing or communicating with me can help me understand a different perspective of the organization. And also, because they should be specialists within that field, it also gives you an opportunity to see you know, what other skill or what other avenues you could possibly explore, even within that particular skill, based on that person's ability to verbalize and to communicate with you on, this is where the company is, and I feel you can move in this direction. I
Yeah.
also want, very calm people, very rash, logical thinkers, But at the same time, out of the box thinkers, I still love out of the box thinkers. So yeah. And on top of that, I'm a Ali when it comes to business. So I want a Tyson opposite me. I don't need a
Another
a
bull.
Willy Wonka.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I understand. I understand because I know at times it's tricky if you don't meet eye to eye with the people you work with. It can be a drag actually. If you're working with people who are not self believers and who are not visionaries. So I think having those things, it is, as you mentioned, is quite significant in any business.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then in terms of challenges, what are some of the challenges or some of the toughest challenges you have come across, and how did you manage to overcome them? It can be in your business or even personally.
So I'll start with the personal because this particular year has challenged me personally, mentally, especially,
Yes.
and emotionally because of the change.
Yes.
Having to adjust mindset to that you can win in such a poor performing environment
Mm.
is, first of all, one of the hardest things to do because you need to be able to see the light. And
Yeah.
if you can't see the light, you stay in that darkness or are trying to figure out what is going on around you. And that means every time and every second you spend trying to figure out what's going on,
Mhm.
it's time where you losing money, where you are losing, operating time, where you are losing resources.
Yeah.
That was first of all hard to
Mm.
really overcome. I had to mentally reposition myself and reconfigure myself
Mm.
to understand the ground that I'll be operating on and that I'll be playing on, because it's, I don't want to lie, it was when this whole thing happened, this pandemic happened, it was easy for me to say, okay, this is now done. That means that Go Bottom no longer exists because I can't trade physically anymore. I can't go and get my products. I can't go and deliver, and I can't do this and I can't
Mm.
do that.
Yeah.
And then I had to take a step back and first and foremost to myself, why did I started? When
Yeah.
I said to my parents I wanted to do this, why did I do that? Is
Yeah.
it just so that when trouble comes, I'm gonna every time say I can't, I'm gonna quit, I'm gonna sit down, or do I really want what I want?
Yeah.
So the mental recalibration was really something else. But like I said, I'm part of the Grasha Michelle Women Creating Wealth program, and that has been very helpful in changing that mental perspective, and
Mm.
also something that a lot of fellowships don't do, which is emotional perspective. We also
Uh-huh.
spent a good time working on our emotional selves, because I can't Go Bottom will not function at its optimum best if I'm not good emotionally, if I'm not good psychologically.
Yes.
And with being part of such fellowships, I've been able to brainstorm new and different ideas to perform, to exist in this market, to generate revenue and so forth. So that has been something else. And like I always say, reading about your industry all the time, reading about market changes also helps. Stay informed with your business, because what you might think is maybe a downfall on an international playing scale may be a upgrade, Even on a local scale, there
Yeah.
are other avenues for you to explore, and there are other opportunities that do present themselves, but you'd have to be able, mentally stable, emotionally stable, so that you can identify them.
Yeah.
um, second challenge second challenge is now more on the business side. Like I said, switching operations is not the easiest of things
No,
to
it's
be
not.
able to do. Letting go of people who worked for you, who have supported you, who have woken up every day to help your dreams become a success, was
Okay.
one of the hardest things to ever have to go through, you
Mm.
know, because because having them no longer fits the current business model. That was very, very difficult to go through. And again, by how I tried to overcome those challenges was I was as honest as I could, and I was possibly could with everyone, because I the there can't be healing if I'm not honest, and I had to be very brutally honest with myself, even. With guys, this is where we are, and this is how the situation is, and we can't function under such circumstances, which means that I'd have to let go, and we have to let go of our relations, which was not, honestly, it's not easy. I don't think that you find a solution. I don't think you find a solution, honestly, to that, because it weighs on you emotionally, it weighs on you spiritually, it weighs on you psychologically. But like I say, I remedied everything with honesty, because there's nothing more that I can do apart from be honest with the team and really share with them what is going on. And luckily, if you treat as an employee, if you treat your people right, if you treat your staff right, if you are also honest with them, you find a very honest and genuine response from them as well. And and then the third was implementing some of these operating systems, because I had to now quickly and hastily learn how to put in digital operating systems, which meant that I had to have a very, very close relationship with my developer. I had to now start learning a lot about e-commerce. I mean, I had knowledge, but I now had to start learning about operating systems, because I need to know exactly how to also run my own company digitally as well. And that was a big challenge, but also again a fun challenge, because new knowledge is coming in, new information is coming in, also, which also presents new opportunities, and also presents a new start, and fresh thinking, fresh perspective. And I honestly remedied that with, you got to pull in the long night. You've got to pull the long night. You don't have a choice. It's going to be hard at first. It's not easy at all. It's really not easy. Running a company is not easy. You'll have to put in the sleepless nights. You will go through the content. You will have to understand the content. You'll have to see what really works for you. But that one, it really is just bucking down and doing the hard work and doing the hard labor, because always a company begins with you. You'll always be the foundation of your company if you are the owner. So you always have to buck down. With every new start, you'll have to get into the dirt, buck down, learn what's going on. And once you've learned and once you understood, it's easier for you to build from a stable foundation.
Yeah, because this pandemic, for a lot of businesses, it's a rebirth for many of them. As you were saying, you had to learn new things for yourself now. And it has become, especially for smaller companies, it has become very empowering. Because if this did not take place, some of the skills we are learning right now, or some of the skills you are learning right now, you would have not learned them actually if this did not happen. So I there's a good and a bad in this whole situation everyone is facing right now. And what you said as well about the mental stability, the importance of having a community to support you, a community to lift you up when you're weak. It is so significant.
Very much, very much. You need to have a very stable spiritual, mental, emotional, and psychological foundation with yourself. And as an employee or an employer, you have to be very, very cognizant of that, because if you're not cognizant that your energy affects the next person, you will go around tarnishing and not being aware of the tarnish. You'll constantly ask yourself, I do things, but it never works out. I do that, and you don't realize it's your energy that affects the next person, because your energy affects your ability to lead, it affects your ability to be consistent, it affects your ability to communicate, it affects your ability to deliver, it affects efficiency as well.
Yes. For most entrepreneurs, it's so easy to lose yourself in your work because, most of the time you are the main man or you're the main person doing this. So how do you maintain your work-life balance, and how do you keep your mental and physical health?
Everything begins with wisdom, and you must have the wisdom to know that you have strengths, you have weaknesses, and it's important for you to play on your strengths as well as it is to play on your weaknesses. When you know you're incapable of doing something, rather than having it on your plate for the next 6 months, knowing that you will most probably won't be able to execute the task, and if you do, maybe not even execute to the level in which you know you want it to be. Have the strength to accept your weakness that you need help in that department and find somebody who's got the strength to boost your weakness. It's always a yin yang situation that must be there in order for you to be able to balance out everything, because you're not Supermaning. No one's Superman. You can't do everything yourself. I've tried. It doesn't work. It leads to disaster. It leads to inefficiency. It leads to destructiveness, even within yourself, within your organization, because you're stressing your body out, you're stressing your spirit out, you're stressing your emotional self out, and psychological self by trying to balance everything out that you need to do. So it really starts with you being able to accept both and to understand both your strengths and your weaknesses, and know when to give in to this is not a good strength. Let me just pass it on to someone who has the correct strengths and abilities and capabilities to execute this task better than I possibly can.
Yes. And when it comes to your physical health, how do you balance that out with the current moment?
I love to dance. I love dancing. As you can see, I even have headsets as we speak.
Uh-huh.
Me and music are best of friends. So
Okay.
when it's time to take care of my physical self, I switch on that tune. I
Uh-huh.
start to dancing,
Yes.
and I work out as well. Anything that's physically exerting, I love it. Exercise is exercise. So exercise is very important. But for me, I dance. I love to dance. I could for a whole hour be on my feet dancing. And
Yes.
maybe people don't take that as exercise, but it's exercise.
It
So take
is.
an hour of your day, take
Yeah.
an hour of your day, work out. If it's not working out, dance. If it's not
Yes.
dancing, take a walk. If it's not walking, run. If it's not running, jog. If it's not jogging, I don't know, take fit cooks to the neighbor or something, but physically challenge yourself.
Yes. Keep moving physically.
Yes,
Let's talk
yes.
sustainability. Sustainability is no longer a hearsay, but part of core business acumen. How have you embraced it as a packaging company?
Um, yeah. So first of all, in order to be sustainable, you must have an evaluating and testing system to test whether you are sustainable or not. So you first have to have proper goals set within your company, and you need to monitor and evaluate and make sure that you are meeting those goals, because you being able to meet those goals will then determine the sustainability. Your customer satisfaction goes into that as well. Your relationship building with your customers, your relationship with suppliers as well, your relationship with your partners, the resources that you have. It's all honestly about being holistically balanced with everything within the organization in order for you to be sustainable. You need to have a proper operating system that knows that if at 12 o'clock an order is coming in, and the order needs to be ready within 3 hours, the order must be ready 3 hours on the dot, if not even half an hour earlier, to make sure that it gets delivered to the client on time, or the delivery man picks it up on time to get it to the client on time in order for you to stay sustainable. So every single mechanism is very important, every single one. So it's difficult to just pinpoint one aspect and say this is what makes a company sustainable. All aspects make your
Mm.
company sustainable, from the administration, from the response time with someone inquiring on WhatsApp about a possible purchase, to your emails, to your social media, to order taking, to the order being processed, to order being executed, all the way up into consumption. Everything must be on track in order for you to remain sustainable. If only one thing is out of order, there's no longer any sustainability.
So in your case, is there, I don't know, is there a channel or way whereby you teach your customers about your contribution to the environment with your product?
At this current moment, I don't necessarily have any channel of teaching customers about the product, and that is simply because that's also still in the pipe works, because we are looking at launching a YouTube page where we will start teaching our customers about our packaging and what materials are used in our packaging. Like I say, and Gold Bottom is also again a paper-based company, which means that all of our material is recyclable. None of it is plastic, and if it is plastic, it's recycled plastic materials. We try and make sure that all of our suppliers that we get are suppliers who produce recyclable material, or who have produced that particular product from recycled material.
And this leads me to the next question as well. Entrepreneurship, how has it changed your life?
It's thickened my skin very much. Your skin hardens like concrete as an entrepreneur, because you have to learn so much that everything that's happening to you is not personal. It's just business.
Yes.
That line will have you going crazy, because you will take it personally, because maybe you are unable to put food in your mouth, or you're unable to make payments for employees or things like that. But it's you learn how to have a very tough and thick skin with being an entrepreneur, and that has directly changed my life in the sense that I've learned that value is important in everything, in every aspect of life. Value is important, because without value, there's zero reason for anyone to even be interested in you. And that entrepreneurship has taught me that the hard way. A lot of the times, even in regards to you not being successful, it hits you very hard, because you have to ask the hard questions of, why don't you want to work with me? What do you think is wrong with me? Those are difficult and hard questions, because they also force you to introspect and to take the time to look at yourself as a person within and find out what's really going on with you. Because if people automatically don't like you as a person, or if there's something wrong with you as a person, it directly translates into your business, which means no one wants to work with you. So entrepreneurship really changed my life in the sense that you have to be cognizant of yourself, you have to be cognizant of the people around you, you have to be cognizant of your value, you have to understand your value, and you also have to understand what it is in life that you are giving, and in order for you to ask for what you're receiving. In the word, it always says that, you sow what you reap. You don't know what that means until you know what that means, until someone really asks you. You say you've got seeds, what are your seeds really worth? So that has really changed my mental stance and perspective. Also, if we can just dive a little bit more, I know this is a very controversial topic, but it's also changed my stances on feminism as well. Because with entrepreneurship, I've had to practice something that I personally call masculine feminism, which is something that I don't think as women we've thoroughly tapped into. Because with entrepreneurship, no one cares whether you're a woman or a man. I mean, there are perks, to that, to being either a woman or a man, and that's based on the BEE status and things like that. But now when you really look into the business, no one cares about that, because it's people's money, it's customers' times, it's customer satisfaction. No one cares whether you're a woman or a man. The only thing they care about is results. And in a weird way, feminism doesn't really teach that. Where it's still very soft. It's still very demanding of I want this and that. But
because
truly,
I'm female. Yes.
Right? And in entrepreneurship, there's no such a thing. If you step into a boxing ring, whether it's a man on the other side or not, you're gonna have. If you're hungry enough, you're gonna eat. You're gonna go and get what you want, and you're not gonna care whether there's a man in front of you or whether it's a woman. You will go and get what you deserve. So that is a very different perspective and a new perspective that I've come to light with in regards to feminism in the entrepreneurial space.
Yeah. It's true. It's quite interesting because if I'm a customer and I want flowers by Friday, I'm not gonna start looking as for a female company or a male business company that's going to fulfill my request. I'm just going to look for a business that is good, that's going to meet my needs. Whether it's male or female, I do not care. I just want them to deliver.
Correct.
And when it comes to industry peers, who do you look up to, or who has influenced you in your operations as well?
Okay, so there's a company that I absolutely adore called Forma. Forma, however, is a European-based company, and it's also a structural packaging design company, and they have absolutely been my idols. Their packaging is very innovative. It's creative. It's out of the box. The systems that they use as well are very. They were already where we are trying to get right now. They'd already moved on to digital operating systems, which was very creative and fresh, innovative, and they're amazing company to look up to.
And Toby, when it comes to your favorite books, can you just give us a few that have changed your life and the way you operate as a person? 3 is enough, or 4, whatever.
Yo, that's difficult. Hey, that's a tight space. Okay, but okay. The first book is The Interview with the Devil by Napoleon Hill. Oh man, you'd have to read that book because that book challenged me spiritually as well as emotionally and psychologically, especially me embarking in my journey of being an entrepreneur. It made me ask the real and honest questions about myself as a person.
Yes.
Okay, the second one again is a Napoleon Hill love, which is the 17 laws of self.
Okay.
I love Napoleon Hill. I am all about his work. I love his work.
Yeah.
The second one.
The third one.
The third one is third. Sorry, the third one.
No worries.
The third one. It's so difficult to pick. It's really difficult. The third one is the. Oh man. Okay. The subtle art of how not to give a fuck has also been. My apologies for that.
Okay.
Word. That last word. Yes. The last book. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So difficult. I think.
No, you can pick. You can make it 4 or 5. No limit.
No. Let's start. It's difficult to pick from so many selections. Wow. The subtle art, the Art of War as well by Sun Tzu was an amazing read.
Yes, I enjoyed that book as well.
Wow.
The pool is big, huh?
It is. I just don't know which one to pick because there's so many books. Every book has a lesson to teach you.
That's
every
true.
Single one, and it's difficult. And it's difficult to say this is the specific one.
Yeah.
Because every book spoke to a specific need to me at a specific time, and there was a reason why I was reading that book when I needed reading it in order for me to have that information to maneuver around, because you ask for answers from the universe, and the universe answers you in in any form and context. And a lot of the times those books came in the time I needed them in order for me to progress as a person. So it is very difficult for me to pick, because it's like they all pop up, but now which one do you really pick and say this is the one that changed? But I'll keep to those four. Those four really, they really did stand out. Honestly, Napoleon Hill is one of my favorite authors. I love reading Napoleon Hill. So and Marcus Garvey.
Okay, I understand, because most of the time each book is usually channeled according to what you need at that particular moment. So I totally understand. One of the books that I also, I think on top of my head right now, that I also enjoy, any book by Og Mandino. If you can just pick any book from that series, believe me, your life will be changed as well. And then there was this other book I was reading not so long ago. It's called The Iceberg is Melting. It's basically about change, how at times when change comes, as human beings, there are people who just take a long time to accept it. Others ignore it. Others are slow in accepting it. Others just say it's not happening. So it was also an interesting book to read. Something fun, fashion. Let's talk about fashion. A fashion item. I know we can't go to most places right now, but what is your fashion item that you can't live without?
It's still a cap. It's still a cap.
Really?
It's still a cap. I can't. Honestly, I've even figured out ways of incorporating a cap into formal wear.
Really?
It's still a cap.
Oh my
goodness.
Yes.
Like, oh my gosh. It's a cap and a suit. Definitely a suit. I'm a simple girl. I like not having to struggle too much about what I need to pick and wear. So just having to pick a pair of pants and top, that makes it very easy for me, because I love simplicity. I don't like trying to figure out what to wear. So it's a cap and definitely a suit.
Okay. All right. So as we close our interview, any advice you have to your younger self, what would it be?
Start when you said you wanted to start. From that first day you have that idea, it's not an idea. A lot of the times we don't listen to our innate self, or we're too cowardice to follow the difficult dream in ourselves. I would say start now. If you have a dream to be an entrepreneur from the time you are 12 years old, because honestly, my entrepreneurship didn't just happen to me. I grew up in a very entrepreneurial home. My father's an entrepreneur. My mother's an entrepreneur. My grandparents are entrepreneurs, and so going forth. So I grew up in an entrepreneurial environment, but because of they wanted us to be educated and things, that side was kind of like, nah, don't focus on that. It's not really. But from the moment you have that dream and you have that goal to say, I want to be an entrepreneur, start then. Immerse yourself in that industry, immerse yourself in that knowledge, immerse yourself in that love, immerse yourself in that energy. Start then. I would have stopped procrastinating. Procrastination is the killer of all dreams, of every single dream. Don't procrastinate. If you have a hunger for something and it's burning right there and then, no matter how stupid you think it is, you'll be surprised what stupid behavior leads to, because stupid or act or thing is what will push you forward, because you would be satisfying what is innately within you, which is to satisfy your destiny, and your destiny is already coded within yourself. So the longer you keep on fighting who you are on the inside because you're confused about things, don't be. The person you believe you are and you can feel you are, that's most definitely who you are. There's so many things about my personal self that I wish I could have from a very young age could have started, or when they were happening, I could have stuck to them and listened to myself, because those were the true self. So trust yourself. Trust yourself, listen to yourself, start then, don't procrastinate, don't hold back, don't don't fear nothing. Fear is just an illusion. It's a dream. It's a dream, it's a dream, it's a dream. Whatever you want to do, it's up to you whether you do it or not. And be kind, be very kind, and be loving, be giving, be merciful, and especially to yourself. But yeah, all of that.
Toby, thank you very much. Thank you very much for your time, for talking to us. It was truly wonderful to talk to you. One more thing, what can we look forward to Gold Bottom? What does the future of Gold Bottom hold for us as consumers?
So the future of Gold Bottom, in order for you to stay updated, to stay knowing, and to know what is going, or to know all the gold happenings, make sure that you visit us on our website at www.gold/bottom.com. Also on our Instagram page, stay following with the latest designs, the newest trends, and see what we're busy with our customers on gold_bottom on Instagram. Also stay informed and knowing what's happening with sales on Facebook at Gold Bottom. Also follow us on Twitter for any news updates on what is happening on Gold Bottom. Also on our website, you can subscribe onto our page and you can receive news feeds on what's happening. Also our WhatsApp channel, the team and I is always posting very informative and educational videos that are that help to expand the packaging knowledge and perspective. Also, Gold Bottom is going to be coming out with its own YouTube page soon, so stay in tune for that. We'll also be teaching packaging and adding onto the packaging knowledge. We'll also be having guests onto the show to also help probe and to help young businesses and people understand the importance of packaging in their day-to-day life, because people don't tend to think packaging is important, but it is, because perception is everything, and at Gold Bottom we help you package the best perception of yourself.
I'm looking forward to all of that. Looking forward to it. Thank you very much.
So much. And one more thing. And Gold Bottom, like we said, by the end of this year, we'll be partnering up with the Gracia Michelle Foundation under the Women Creating Wealth program. So also stay tuned in that, and we'll be helping young women also expand their, thinking and skills around entrepreneurship and packaging.
Oh, that's wonderful. Congratulations on this particular partnership. I'm definitely looking forward to it, and I believe many more people will benefit from it. Thank you, Toby, once more.
Thank you.
Yeah, we'll keep in touch and we'll see you in the digital spaces.
Most definitely. Stay tuned, stay informed, and stay awesome.
All right. Thank you. Have a good day. Bye.
Bye, so.